What's poppin', gamers? It's your boy Ilyon here, reminding you to destroy that like and subscribe button. Alright, now that we've got that out of the way, let's go and do some ranked. So we have another Eternal deck tech for you this week. We have FTS Relics. So we had a bunch of really awesome decks this month for the Sub-Eternal Tournament of Power, or rather for last month, for January, and this was one of the ones that really piqued my interest. It's just such a different brew than I've seen going around in like almost anything else, and I want to give credit where it's due. This is from a user on Eternal Warcry named The Crimson Chin 8, so I'm going to link to their original deck. I changed around a few things after playing for a little while with it on the leaderboard, and it was sent in by Epic Legion for last month. So this one was a blast to play, and the idea behind it is kind of twofold, and I generally don't like decks that have multiple different synergies because they tend to thin themselves out a little bit too much. But this one kind of works in a lot of ways. Like it combines a lot of the synergies, and it's really neat. So the idea of it is tokens and relics, and okay, you've kind of seen that before, but you probably haven't seen some of these token makers. So we've got, like, obviously the normal ones. We've got Grenadin drone that makes another 1/1 Grenadin. We've got assembly line to make a bunch of them. We have, I put in some Combusts to help out with that so that we've got some of the removal when you've got like a bunch of extra units hanging around. We've got an old staple, which is Torrent of Spiders, which is where you get a 1/1 spider with deadly for every 3 units you have in your void. We have some of those kinds of things. But then we also have some real whack choices. We've got, of course, Rat Cage, which is going more with that Relics plan. Okay, still kind of normal, get that. We also have Colony Matron, where at the start of your turn you play a 1/1 Vampire Bat with Flying and Lifesteal. And then what we're going to be doing with those is a little bit different again. So, okay, we have our Xenan Obelisk. Sure, makes sense. I get that. I can get behind it. But wait. We have Shingane Forge. So whenever you play a unit, create and draw a +2/+1 weapon. So you get a heavy axe every single time that you play a unit. All of these count as playing units, so you can combine a whole bunch of units together. What do you do with all those units and all those weapons? You Oni Quartermaster, of course. So when you play weapons, you get to draw extra cards. And now you can see things just kind of churning. So you've got Lethrai Courtier to get a bunch of advantage off of all of these different attachments that you're playing. Mesmerize Moth is a pretty mediocre creature and a very mediocre relic just sandwiched together. But when you need to be playing lots of both of those, and they both trigger things like Courtier and the Shingane Forge, and then that'll feed into your Quartermaster, this is really actually quite useful. So we have a bunch of Mesmerized Moths as well, like just is a bunch of minor value that you just kind of want to spread out all over the place. You can even use it as something like you make an Ancient Bauble and then you can ship it away with Ixtan Merchant to get something that's more important. A bunch of different ways that you can use that. Obviously we have Ixtan Merchant. You want some merchant or another. This one we want to have lots of extra copies of Quartermaster, Shingane Forge. I put in Cookbooks. There used to be Phoenix Stone, which is not a bad card, but I wanted to try Cookbook a little bit more. I like the idea of that. And we, of course, like I said, we've got all the Combusts as some of our removal. We cut down on some Banishes. You'll notice the original list had 4. I cut down on them a bit. I do like Banish quite a bit right now, but I just think that Combust is like, for sure, 100% it dies removal is a little bit more important than killing things that cost 4 or less. So you want to be able to get rid of some like Risens and other flyers and things like that. We have our Torrent of Spiders like we talked about. We've got some Seek powers to just help out with all of our different colors that we're running, and then your kind of typical power base, some crests and seats, and then a bunch of regular sigils that we have a bunch of undepleted power, which I like. Sometimes we get a little bit too deep into having too many crests and seats and things like that, and then you actually run into the problem where you're just always a turn behind because all of your power is depleted. And this deck doesn't really have as many problems with that. We've also got the Courtier to help draw us a bunch of extra power cards. And this is a fair bit of power. I mean, it's 28 plus 4 Lethrai Courtiers, and you're going like, wow, Ilyon, that's a lot of power. And it is, but if we can get this chain going of Forge, Quartermaster, and all of our tokens going together, will need to have a lot of power because you can play so much stuff. It gets real whack, and we want to have a lot of power to be able to pull it all off. We also have in our market, we have a Combust. It didn't originally have removal. It originally had Statuary Maiden, which I don't mind, and you might want to put those back in, but I like just having a for sure removal spell that I can pull out when I need it, and I figured that I would go for Combust here. We have Cauldron Cookbook. We have Flame Stoker and Shingane Forge, just as extra relics that we can get, so depending on the situation that we're in, we can pull out which one we need. And then we also have an Oni Quartermaster, so we can go off with all of these different heavy axes that we're getting. I'm really excited about this deck. I want to give a big shout out to all of those subs and patrons who do send in decks all the time, and of course, all of their support that they give me by helping me have this as a job. I do really appreciate it. And so, as jokingly as I was saying, to smash that like and subscribe button. It does help me out a bit if you follow, you know, either me on Twitch here, or follow me on, on Twitch, or you follow me here on YouTube, or if you stop in by Patreon and decide to give me, you know, a buck or two every once in a while. So I'd really appreciate that, and we'll be back with some ranked games.